गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। Today we're going to have a look at Iran's miscalculations. And I think Iran has miscalculated big time. We'll go back into the history and then I'll carry out a battle damage assessment of what has actually happened so far. It's easy to say this missile facility has been hit, that enrichment facility has been hit, but you have to understand the impact, the overall impact of all this which has happened. And for that, I'm going to take you into a bit of nuclear physics. I'll explain to you, and then we'll see in the entirety what has gone wrong and why miss and the impact of what's happened. Till yesterday, I was also talking a lot in the air. This has happened, that has happened, and all that. And I sat down in the morning and went back to my notes on nuclear physics and then understood, look, there's something which has happened which is pretty extensive. It's not earth shaking, but for a country, it's huge. So, and when you see it with other things, it becomes bigger. And that is where Iran has miscalculated huge, big time. So let's get to the crux of the story. Okay. First and foremost, Trump is speaking of regime change. The first problem for, now that whatever has happened, he is now speaking of regime change. There's depth. You see, there's a lot of planning which has gone on and in the execution of the strikes and all that. Till yesterday, Trump didn't speak of regime change. Today, he's talking. I think he's put out one of his post in Truth Social, which says, look, regime change might be good, or something to that effect. But that's on the cards now, right? And that's on the cards not only externally, I think internally also things will, this is like a nuclear reactor. There's something happening inside which we don't know what's happening. So that's the story, right? And if you go back to this is it. He started with the nukes, Houthis, and all these, and these people have bombarded it with something else. So things are set of balls have played out. Right. Let's go ahead. We've spoken of regime change in the air. Now let's look at Iran's miscalculations from the beginning. Okay. So you get a feel of what has happened. Look, in the beginning, Iran, let me show it full. You don't need to see my face. Okay. Right. All Iran-backed Hamas, they wanted, what did Hamas want to do here? They wanted to draw everyone in so that Gaza can be done, all that, and Iran supported it fully. Now, Hamas has set in motion a chain of events. What has happened? That has destroyed Iranian power completely in the region. That's the important point, and Iran saw it happening. Now, did Hamas achieve what it wanted? It didn't after that October 23 attack last year. Okay, Gaza has been razed. More than 50,000 Palestinians have been, killed. That's what people say. Okay, Hamas itself is a shadow of itself. So this is one thing. This is the start point, like a nuclear fission chain reaction. Then you see Houthis, of course, are still active, but they're still degraded. There's nothing much they can do. They are saying that we will do something against Red Sea, Beyond that, they can do very little. I don't know how many missiles or long-range missiles they have. They must also be running out of their own capacity. Okay. Hezbollah has been degraded. Hezbollah was supposed to be the strongest militia in this region. It was more like an army. That's gone. Syria is gone. Syria is today run by Sunnis, where it was complete Alawite Shias, and it was a part of this Shia crescent. That yellow area which I'm showing here was all part of the Shia crescent. It's gone, right? And none of these Sunnis are toward have any leaning to the Shiite mullahs of Iran. Then you look at Iran itself, its strategy of encirclement of Israel with a ring of fire, that's been completely dismantled. Now, what has this done? Fundamentally, what this has done is that till recently or till then, sorry, Israel, when it was surrounded by all these people at with a at its home, it couldn't hit Iran. But now, over a period of time, some drone attacks, some missile attacks, this, that, and all that, suddenly, over a period of 1 year, now Iran got boxed in. Israel spread its wings. Its superior, technology has come into play. Air defenses have gone down. It allowed Israel to directly target itself, which something, say, 1 year back, one couldn't have thought of it also. Okay. Its senior military leadership today, as it stands, is decimated. People say he can be replaced. I agree, but how many people you keep replacing? It shakes up the whole organization. Scientists are gone. They contribute to your capability building in the nuclear sphere. Okay, it's a matter of you. They're knocking out leaders, so your capacities are going down. Nuclear facilities are almost dismantled. This is something I'm going to dwell on today. Their strategic allies, Russia and China, have dished it. There's no doubt about it. Now they're talking something in UN, Shuven, and all that because they're scared it'll be their turn next. Okay, economy is in ruins and people are in misery. But see the miscalculation. This is where the miscalculation is huge. The mullahs are still defiant. At some stage, you have to cut your losses. Where could Iran have cut its losses? The way I look at it, Iran should have cut its losses around the time the deal was offered. Some deal they should have gotten. They could have always got out of that deal. The deal was not important. The deal would have given them time. Now will they have time for recovery? When your power is getting lost, you should know when to say, okay, I'll redo this, my whole story. Okay. Right. What are Iran's options today? Very few. This is it. It can hit US bases. It can hit Israeli targets. That's going on. But US's bases, it's not touched so far. Israeli targets, they'll hit Israel. Israel will hit Iran. It'll hit Gulf countries. But hitting Gulf countries means escalation. It can close Strait of Hormuz. Everyone's talks. But it is self-goal. It can do hybrid options. So actually, out of all these 4 or 5 of them, only 2 viable. They can hit Israel, right? And they can, really go in for hybrid options. Strait of Hormuz, you can close. There's no problem. Okay, what happens if Strait of Hormuz is closed? Its own oil production will get stuck. China, its ally will get, degraded. That suits USA. Oil prices will go up. USA will make money. Oil prices will go up. Russia will make money. And what about itself? Zero. Okay. Even after that, Strait of Hormuz is closed. What happens after that? Southern part of Strait of Hormuz, if you see, is what? Let's see. Look at this. Look at this map. Southern part of Strait of Hormuz is Oman and UAE and all that. That is secure, right? It's only the northern part. So what will happen from the northern part? What will happen from the northern part? Iran will, fire missiles or drones and things like that. So for that, there could be a limited action. Capture the northern part, 30, 40, 50 kilometers. Provide a safe corridor. Open Strait of Hormuz. It might take 5 days, 10 days, 1 month. But once that happens, someone would be permanently here on the Strait of Hormuz. And they have this Bandar Abbas next door. If that is captured, limited ground action. Like I said, that in between options are dangerous. Day before also, yesterday I said, in between option of fire and withdraw. Similarly, no major ground action, but the in between ground action of open, keeping the Strait of Hormuz open, and getting hold of Bandar Abbas will cripple Iran. That what will happen then? What will happen then if that goes? This is the way I look at it. I don't look at going in for a full ground option yet. The Bandar Abbas is here. Okay, right now that will ensure that Strait of Hormuz is all completely out of Iran's hands completely, which is within the capability of Israel, USA, and Britain and all these people. Everyone will say keep it open. So their sovereignty on their land is eroded. Their If that happens, Iran's oil won't go out. So economically, it's gone down further. If Bandar Abbas is closed, their economy is finished. And this is well within US capability, well with Israel's capability. Right? So people say Iran has options, and we're going to discuss it today. Today, Vidya Arun Sehgal and I are going to discuss what's the way forward for Iran and what are the options for Iran. We'll see that. In this game, we have to analyze both sides of the equation. Okay, so that is where Iran is. Now, if all this happens, unrest. If all unrest and all happens, regime change. So these are steps to regime change which are happening, which are unfolding. When people say there will be no regime change, well, I have my reservations. Regime change, the worst regime change which can happen to all this, a particular regime is from within. Can it happen? Possible. After all, if you go back to 79, why did Khomeini come? Regime change. Okay. Internal revolution. That is the most dangerous thing today in Iran. Right. Okay. This we have seen. Sorry. Okay. Now, these are the options. Now, look at it. US bases are all over. How many bases will they hit? Hitting any one base also, right? Have a look at it, a slightly bigger thing. Hitting one base also will invite trouble, disproportionate trouble. So I don't think US bases are at risk. And US has also made its intentions clear that we're going to be surgical about it. We're going to hit this only. It's only now Trump has started regime change. That if you leave it out, so far they've said we've hit Iran's nuclear facilities, not military targets, not civilian population. But they've given a warning, you touch us, we'll do what we have to do. So Iran has not crossed that red line. But will it? We'll see. Okay. Then what's the capacity of Iran to retaliate? You see the number of strikes at Israel, it has gone down. This is the thing. Iranian missiles fired from 13th onwards, they're all gone down. This is only till 18th. After that, it's gone down further. Now, what has happened is initially Iran was firing, short-range drones and missiles and all that. They were not effective. So they have to resort to ballistic missiles. So the number of ballistic missiles is depleting. Added to that, there is news that at Khorram Shahar, there's a missile depot which has been blasted by Israel. Now, Israel will do all this in detail. Your launch capability is gone, which will affect nuclear capability. See, when you talk of nuclear capability, there are three things. One is your capability to enrich and produce uranium. Second, your capability to produce a weapon and put it on top of a missile. And then the ability to fire a missile. For that, you need a missile and you need a launcher. So some parts of all this is being dismantled or dismantled. Okay, let's look at the damage assessment which has gone in so far. Right. This is what we know, isn't it? So far. This is Fordo. Everyone talks of Fordo. One strike here and one, 3 pock marks here, 3 pock marks here. Entrance closed. Okay, I'll show this. See, this is the thing. What you can see is about 8 hits in this area. Americans say they put totally fired 13 GBUs in this area, 2 on Natanz and 11 here. Where the other 3 we don't know. It's not come out. I'm sure it's there somewhere. Or it has gone one after the other. Then it's worse. So there is damage here, whether you like it or not. What damage? We'll see how it is. Okay, now you look at this. This is Esfahan. Okay, Esfahan. This is before these American strikes. Now look at this. All this is damaged. I'll go back again. See this? So there's a huge damage in Esfahan. Esfahan has been hit very badly. If you see in Esfahan, this part of Esfahan is damaged, this part of Esfahan is damaged, all superficial. Now, Esfahan is very critical to them. And you'll understand this as I go along. Okay, Esfahan is their research center. There are certain important things. It's not just enrichment. The chain has been hit. Okay, and then of course this is Natanz. Natanz is their biggest enrichment facility. That has been hit. This circle here is where probably the GBUs have gone in. Okay, half of Natanz was overhead, half of Natanz was inside. Finished. The top half was taken off by Israel. The underneath, I think yesterday the Americans would have done the trick. So what is left, we don't know. We'll come out, but I'll make an assessment. Today, I'll make an assessment of all this which has happened. Now I'm going to go into nuclear physics. So what is this part of nuclear physics which I want to go into? Or this is a bomb. Okay. This is called a gun type bomb. Now let me expand it fully. This is a gun type bomb. What is a gun type bomb? This was the one which was used in Hiroshima. In this, 2 subcritical masses of uranium are kept apart. And they are driven in by an explosive. Something like this. Explosive here, it goes down. There's a mass of uranium here. There's a mass of uranium here. Both come in, they become supercritical, and then they explode. That was what was used in Hiroshima. Now, later on, there's an implosion method. In this implosion method, a subcritical mass is kept here. In this, it's shown plutonium with a plutonium core and uranium, right? And then, explosives are kept in the periphery. They are blown. These explosives drive whatever is inside together to form a supercritical mass, and that supercritical mass blows. So this is the fundamental of a nuclear device. So what is it required here? You need technology to make all this. You need technology to make all this happen. One. And then you need this nuclear material. So let's understand these a little more so that we all understand what has actually happened. Okay, I'm going to take you. For many of you, you might not understand it, but there's a fundamental way of looking at this whole story. Okay. Look, fission has 3 options. Okay, there are 3 options for fission. This is fundamental again. And I'll put it in as simple words as possible. The first is fission of uranium-235. Fission of uranium-235 is the most common. Okay. Then you use U-238. And I'll explain this a little later and convert it into plutonium, and plutonium-239 is used. They're the plutonium bombs. And then you use thorium-232, convert it into thorium-233, which is also auto-fissionable. Okay, you fission it and these are the 3 forms of fission which you can use for a weapon. Invariably, weapons are based on either uranium-235 or plutonium-239. These are the two ones. I'm talking of fission. I'm not talking of fusion. Fusion is a ball game separate. I'll not talk of it. So now you go back. This could be either this is uranium or this is could be uranium come plutonium. So you need those two. No one has made it out of thorium so far. Okay, thorium is a tricky thing, right? Now what happens on nuclear fission? You take a nucleus of this 235, you bombard it with a neutron, or you hit it together, or make it supercritical, and then it breaks. When it breaks, you have byproducts and you have more neutrons coming out. Those neutrons will hit another, it's like this. You break a U235 atom, then it breaks up, gives you more neutrons, which breaks more, and there's a chain reaction. And for this chain reaction to sustain itself, right? For the chain reaction to sustain itself, you need it to be supercritical of mass. Subcritical, it will fizzle out. Okay. So that means you need adequate enriched uranium in adequate quantity. So that is why you need an enrichment process. So what is this enriched uranium and all that? We'll talk of that. That is something which very few people so far, we have not spoken of it. We have only spoken of everything. But let's understand it, because then you'll understand what's happening there. Okay. Normally uranium occurs in underground deposits. It's in the form of yellow cake. What people say is yellow cake. Now you have to dig it out, leach it, treat it with acid, and then you start getting uranium. Naturally occurring uranium has 0.7% 235, uranium 235, and 99.3% uranium 238. The trick is this uranium 235. Uranium 235, which is 0.7% only available in nature, is fissionable. It's unstable. Even that, it's not fully unstable. It can be fissioned. Okay. 238 is stable. You can't fission it. You can do something with it, but it's not fissionable. So all nuclear weapons require enrichment. What is this enrichment? You have to increase this proportion of U235 to 90% or more. That is something which is available in nature in 0.7%. You have to make it 90%. That is when it is called highly enriched uranium, HEU. Right. Now the uranium from which 235 is extracted, because natural uranium I said is 99.3%, 238. When you extract 235 out of normally occurring uranium, it is called depleted uranium. Why it's called depleted uranium? Because it is depleted of radioactive uranium, or rather fissionable uranium. Now that is a very hard substance, normally used for anti-tank rounds and where hardness is required. Now when you talk of normal nuclear reactors require about 3 to 5% of uranium 235. Just 3 to 5%. And this is called low enriched uranium. So remember, when you read, hear everything, low enriched uranium used for reactors. High enriched uranium used for bombs. Right. Now the trick is high enriched uranium can be used with plutonium to form a pit and all that. But I will not talk of that at this point of time. The bomb which was used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki had HEU, that is highly enriched uranium. Right? High enriched uranium. And that was about it had about 15 to 20 kg of uranium. Okay. Now, that's what you require to make a bomb without plutonium. But if you have to have a plutonium process and all that, you need lesser. But in the case of Iran, I don't think they had a plutonium process fully there, because they were looking more at uranium enrichment only. Okay. And with what they were planning, that's why they say you need 40 kgs of, you need about 20 kgs of HEU at 90% plus to make a bomb. And they had about 40 kgs, they had about 400 kgs. That means of 60% enrichment, right? 40, that is, which they said will make 10 atom bombs. So about 40 kg of 60% enrichment. When you enrich it to 90% plus, it goes down to about 15-20 kgs, and that's why 10 bombs. It's not so simple, okay, that you enrich it. It's a very complicated process, and we'll talk of that. Okay, now uranium enrichment, I'm going to go a little technical, but it's worth it. Understand it. I'll put it as simple as possible. Uranium just can't be enriched just like that. It has to be converted. That's why it's called a conversion facility, uranium conversion facility. If you don't have a conversion facility, you can't make enrich. You can't enrich. Okay, so you convert it by mixing with fluorine. Okay, and that is called UF6, uranium hexafluoride. Okay, and this conversion facility in Iran was at Isfahan. Okay, UF6 is a critical compound. You need it for enrichment. It is only through this that you do enrichment, right? Now, UF6 is the one which is put into the centrifuges, okay, so that you increase it to 235. I'll give you an idea of what that is also. But UF6 is not easy to handle. It is corrosive and cause severe irritation, burns, and all that. So it has to be handled very carefully. That's why when people say, "Oh, uranium enrichment, it has been taken off, and this has happened, that has happened," I say, yeah, something else has happened. You have to understand. It is normally transported in sealed metallic containers, so that it can take on mechanical and corrosive impacts wherever. It's a dangerous substance, UFX, right? Inflammable, all that. And it's also called hex. Normally, when nuclear chaps say, they call it hex. So slang, you'll hear it as hex. Okay. Now, this is a centrifuge. This is a centrifuge cascade. This is the Iranian one. See here? This is the Iranian flag. Now, you need, Iran has about 4,000 of them. And these are sensitive things. It's not simple. Okay. They get shaken, you have to remake the whole thing. Now, let me explain this. This is a reactor. Understand this. This is a normal reactor. This is a normal reactor which is there anywhere. Okay. Now, what happens in a reactor? And then I'll come to something else. This is the core of the reactor. What you see here are the fuel rods. What are these fuel rods? Low enriched uranium, 2 to 3%. Okay. Then you have control rods. Control rods are the one where if you put, you start getting neutrons out. And that will control the amount of fission which is going on. Now there is water which goes around this reactor, takes the heat away from the reactor. This water over a period of time, because it is exposed to these rods and all that, is called heavy water. And this water transfers heat to another a tank in water which is kept, where steam is generated and it drives turbines. And then there's a condenser, and this is a cycle, this is a cycle. Now, internal cycle is important. Okay, internal cycle is important. I'll come back to this after some time. Yeah. So, What you get out of a normal reactor is heavy water and plutonium. Heavy water is this, which is going around the core, and plutonium you get because the rods are largely U-238. When U-238 is ingested with neutrons, okay, because only 235 is only 2%. The 2% fissions and it becomes heavy water and it heat and all that. But the 238, which is maximum, keeps getting ingested with neutrons. That becomes plutonium. And that is also fissile material. Okay, right. Now, plutonium is not found naturally. It comes out of a reactor. Okay, that's the crux. I'll not go into all this. Once plutonium is extracted, you can reprocess it. So for using, this nuclear rods, converting, because that nuclear rod of a reactor, the nuclear rod of a reactor can be converted into a, what shall I say? Um, uh, plutonium. But to do that, you need a reprocessing plant. If you go the plutonium route, India is on the plutonium route, incidentally. 1 minute. Somewhere there's one slide which I've missed out. Okay. Now, let me also explain, right? Let me also explain to you what has happened. What is the centrifuge and all that? What is the centrifuge? At the base, there are motors which are going, bearing at high speed, right? The one, one slide I had made is missing somewhere. So that's how I'm explaining out of this. Now, from the top, they put in normal fuel. And when this revolves at high speed, U-235, right, is light. It stays in the center. U-238, which is heavier, goes to the side. Okay. And from these lines which are coming out, one line you get out enriched uranium, that is 235. And in the other one, you get depleted uranium, which is 238. Still part of with fluorides. And that is again reprocessed to get to 90%. It's a reiterative process. It's not simple. It's a reiterative process. That is why in Natanz it is estimated there are over 2,000 of such centrifuges. They're very delicate. And even in Fordo. Okay. So if any of these are done with, it's a problem. So when people say, oh, most of this item has been taken out, they're talking through their head. Yes, we'll talk of what could have been taken out. Right. Now you look at what's happened here. We'll go one by one. This is the damage assessment which I feel has happened. This is the crux. Natanz. Natanz was the main enrichment plant, okay, which could get up to 90% purity. Same thing is at Fordo also, but I'll come to Fordo. Oh, like I said earlier, in Natanz, the overground infrastructure was destroyed by Israel before this. Now the underground thing has been destroyed by USA. So Natanz is a complete write-off. Most of the centrifuges would have gone. Some might be there, but once it's gone through that kind of a shock, you don't know whether it's right or not. You have to reconstruct the whole thing. It's not going to be easy. And plus, there's some contamination. There would be contamination inside. It's not come out, but it's there. In fact, IAEA has said there is contamination at the site. So this site is virtually closed. Natanz is a write-off, the way I look at it. I mean, others can talk what they want. Fordo, not big as Natanz, Incidentally, its construction began in 2007. For 2-3 years, Iranians never told anyone about it. Then it was discovered. Then some inspections started. Then the layout was known, everything. Same thing as Natanz. It's been hit. We don't know what's inside. When it opens, what's the contamination? We don't know. These centrifuges, what's the state? We don't know. These are all enrichment facilities. Enrichment facilities might not store uranium. Understand this. They might have stored something in Isfahan, or no, not in Isfahan, in Fordo, possible. Now let's look at Isfahan. There were 3 Chinese reactors which were operational here. They are research reactors. The Chinese were helping the Iranians quite a bit. This also had the uranium conversion facility. Now this is important. What is that conversion facility? I told you this is the facility where raw uranium is taken, fluorine is taken, made into UFO, and then sent for enrichment. That's the first stage of the process. Uranium mining, conversion, enrichment, reprocessing. This is the cycle. Okay. Right. So the conversion facility, and yeah, like I said, this facility, this conversion facility is supposed to, supply UF6 to Natanz and also Fordo. Something else happens. It's called the uranium dioxide. That was being used as the conversion, which is also a byproduct of this whole story for Arak. Okay. Then there are experiments in heavy water production research which is happening here. Right? So fuel production, fundamental thing, everything is at Isfahan. That has been hit. That has been hit extensively. Right? So where you enrich, it's been hit. Where you mix uranium with fluorine, that has been hit. Where you met uranium dioxide and get heavy water processing, that's been hit. Right? Something else has been hit. There's a heavy water plant at Arak. That's been hit. What is that heavy water plant? The heavy water which comes out of this goes to Arak for reprocessing, because the heavy water is also full of some plutonium and all that, because that has interacted with the rods. It's got plutonium, so that can be reprocessed, enriched. And then the rods which is there, you have to shave plutonium off that. That is done at Isfahan. So Isfahan is it. Arak was finished off by Israelis. They say that Arak was not functional even before this. But I don't know. We don't know. But that capability is gone. And then something else has been hit. That's the Tehran. The Tehran Research Center has been hit. Okay. Tehran Nuclear Research Center has been hit. Sorry, before that I'll get to Parchin. Parchin was supposed to be the research and development and production of ammunition, rockets and explosives was being undertaken at Parchin. Right? Some time back, the IAEA officials identified a large explosive containment vessel inside and reported that they had credible information that Parchin was used for implosion testing. So these vessels, see, I'll go back now. In Parchin, yeah, this was being tested, this implosion vessel. That's the technology for making weapons. And Parchin has been hit. Their conversion of enriched uranium into weapons, that research was being done at Parchin. That has been hit. Okay. Yeah, I'll go back. Yeah. That has been hit. So their weapon production capability has been hit. Even if they have enriched uranium, they have to convert into weapon. Okay, please understand what I'm talking. TNRC, Tehran Nuclear Research Center. Lot of undeclared activities was being carried out here. Plutonium separation, purification, conversion, laser enrichment, the works, plutonium production. Like I told you, every reactor gives you plutonium. That's what we do. We have a fast breeder test reactor, but that at this point I'll not talk. So why is this important? Because Bushehr is a nuclear normal reactor. Bushehr produces heavy water, and which goes to Arak, and heavy water processing was done to get radioactive material from there, or fissionable material out of that. Bushehr produces plutonium rods. That research was being done at Tehran Nuclear Research Center, and the processing was being done at Isfahan. Now, all these have been hit. Bushehr has not been hit because if you hit Bushehr, there will be a nuclear catastrophe. All these other facilities have been hit, confirmed by Israel, and they'll be hitting more. They'll finish it off. So, what is left of the Iranian capability? Please understand this. People now say, "Oh, what about the enriched uranium? What about that enriched uranium? Can you convert it into a missile? Can we convert it into a weapon?" The where you are doing research, that's taken off. Can you put it on your rockets and missiles? They are depleting. Have you? The only thing is that has Iran already converted, because they were about 1 year back. I had read that when the IAEA did some inspection, there were traces of uranium which were enriched up to 83%. Okay. Be that as it may, there are also reports that some cold testing has happened in North Korea. In which case, will it be safe to assume that Iran not only has adequate enriched uranium to make a few bombs, and also the capability? Possible. Does it have a bomb? Possible. With Chinese and North Korean capability, it has got. Can it threaten anyone at this stage? That's the doubt. That's the option. That's the doubt. Will we know when? We'll come to know sooner than later. Okay. And that's what we're going to try and decipher in the evening. What are the options Iran has? It's not going to be technical. I've gone technical. I do hope you enjoyed this technical, semi-technical and semi-tactical, semi-strategic thinking. If you liked it, press the like button and subscribe to Gunner Shot and join me as a member. Right, with this, I'll take a few questions. Yeah. MK, thanks for becoming a member. Okay. Yeah. Concur, Joy Bangla is a nuisance. Joy Bangla, I'm telling you now, if you make yourself a nuisance, I'll ban you. Be very clear. You will not be able to come. Everyone has tolerated you so far. No more. Okay. Sir, thank you for the brilliant session in Chennai yesterday. It was an honor to meet you. And yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, I must tell everyone, I spoke to school children and a whole lot of people on India's external and internal threats. Self and General Narayanan were there. Thanks a lot, Venkatesh, for your contribution. Yeah. Okay, now let's go to a few questions from the top. Hans, good morning. Akash, good morning. Ashu's Chess Lab, good morning. Right. After Iran's regime change, Netanyahu, Iran's nuclear bombs are in Pakistan. Ashok Gazula, Namaskaram. Shweta also, good morning. Malika, good morning. Right. Jitendra Arya, good Aurora, good morning. Right. Rohan also, good morning. Okay. Vivek Berry, good morning. AM Kamath. Hello, how are you? Lofi, good morning. Right. Uh, is Furdo completely damaged? I hope I've clarified. Why I look at it, I don't think anything in Fordo can be used in a hurry. Right? You have to do some blasting way. We don't know what's happened inside, who'll go in, what's the damage, we don't know. The way I look at it, you can write off Fordo for the next 2-3 years. Okay. Mhm. Yeah, without mustache our IQ drops by 20%. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. Like it. Okay. Ajit Dikshit, good morning. Pak handles spread misinfo. We allowed US airspace to attack Iran. MIB put out a fact check 10 hours later. China and Pak at full time info war. I don't think so. There'll be something. Don't worry. Don't be in a hurry about this. This is part of the game because there are enough handles which are putting out that Pak airspace was used. And Iranians are not fools to think that Indian airspace is used. Look at it this way: if Indian airspace is used, Pak airspace has to be used, isn't it? It can't happen that Indian airspace is used and Pak airspace is not used to go into Iran. So Iranians are not fools, so no one will get carried away by it. Yeah, Iran appears to be most isolated right now. I agree with you. Vishwanathan, morning. Is our government establishing proper info war capability? Yeah, I think they are. Don't worry. Is there any option of for Iran other than live to fight another day? Well, I don't see so, but we'll discuss it because we have to discuss it in depth. And today evening, Brigadier Saigal will come, and I requested him. We'll talk of this. Yeah, Israel in the past 20 months have dealt with Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi, and now Iran, targeting one after the other. So, do we have a level of commitment and intelligence in our forces? Definitely. Don't worry. Haven't we handled Kashmir, Northeast, China, Pakistan? Everyone to his own capability. Okay. Very nice caricature, powerful way to convey complex issues, emotions, social issues in an engaging manner and brings a big smile. Thanks a lot for that. And Trump says he wants a regime change. I've spoken of it. Mm, Khomeini said Iran is not important, Islam is important. Is it a suicidal tendency? It may harm Israel. Look, it's a theocracy. How much can it harm Israel now? Okay. Yeah, there might be hybrid actions, but we'll see where it goes. How much can you harm Israel with hybrid actions? To prevent further escalation, reassure an ally and declare affirm their presence of influence on the geopolitical landscape. Russia may find reason to intervene in Iran's favor. Evening, we'll talk of it. Okay. Escalation of war turning ugly. However, what will be this civilians residing in war in their own countries? Fear of, yeah, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. Hindustan Times has put out that Russia has threatened to give Iran nuclear warheads. Is this a bluff or could it really happen? Why I look at it, it's a bluff. But we'll talk of it in the evening. They have to have their presence recognized and felt. That's about all. It's all big talk. Ajit Dikshit, an excellent analysis. Thanks a lot. Mm, Please click the like button, subscribe to this channel. Yeah, again, thanks a lot, Yogesh. Iranian nuclear heads are plutonium based. Jai Bangla's head is based on solid iron, rusted iron. That's about all. I'm always going to bet on India, so do I. There's no problem. We are okay. IAEA confirms no radiation leak. People are saying this attack was a great failure. Nothing achieved by this attack except for a big hole in Iran and US economy. Tiger Sati, now I would like you to answer me. Are you convinced of what I've said? If you're convinced of what I've said, you should change your mind. Yeah, such detailed explanation can come only from general's knowledge, and it is good that knowledge is to be shared. Yeah, thanks a lot. That's the whole idea. All of us are shooting in the air. We don't know what's happening. That's why I thought I'll put across a semi-technical presentation. I can go completely technical. Incidentally, I teach fundamentals of nuclear technology to uh, students in IIT. How much area can be harmed by one tactical nuclear weapon? Maybe half a kilometer, 1 kilometer. That's it. Yeah. Only an ideology driven state will keep on making such self defeating decisions, just like Nazi Germany. Otherwise, a pragmatic state will always try to cut its losses at the expense of it. I think they should have done somewhere last year. Okay. When their reach and all their, you know, militias were getting killed out or cut out after Hezbollah, Syria, Houthis were hammered, Hamas insignificant. They should have contracted and waited for that day, rebuild, and then go. But they were not. You know how it is. Pak is more dangerous than Iran. What will be Israel's action against Pak? We'll see in the future. I think that's a little too far at this point. Whether little confused as to whether to take US military seriously. On one hand, they execute this flawless operation, but same chaps also lost to slipper donning Taliban. See, that's a different story, and this is a different story. Their operation, they've set back Iran. There's no doubt. The nuclear structure in Iran has been dismantled. Let's not have doubt. I don't have doubts. That's why yesterday night I went back into nuclear technology, examined everything, and see what all they've done, pieced things together. It's pretty serious. From here, they've not put boats on ground, nothing. So let's see where it goes. Why think that they lost already? Yeah, many states in India has uranium deposits, including Jharkhand. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, great presentation, well explained. Thank you. Oh, wait, let me see if I can show you a picture of the. Give me 1 minute. I'll show you a picture of the centrifuges if I can. Right. I might have it. And give me 2 minutes. Yeah, got it. So this will give you a clear idea of what I'm talking of, so that towards so it's come towards the end, but worth it. I'll spend 10. See, this is a centrifuge. You'll understand this now fully. Sorry, little late, but this is a centrifuge. What happens in this is this UF6 supply comes in here. See this? What I said, uranium hexafluoride is pushed in here. Now, at the bottom, this centrifuge is spinning. Okay, it is spinning big time. It's spinning like this at high speeds, right? Now, as it spins at high speeds, The uranium 238 keeps going to the outside. Okay. Now, when it goes to the outside, then it is collected from the outside, and uranium depleted of U-35 goes out. The U-35, which is a lighter metal, collects and it is taken out. As simple as that, but very delicate. There is another model. In that other model, the UF6 supply is pushed in here. Okay, it's pushed in here, and that's spun at high speed. Okay, and there's a porous, I mean, there's a diaphragm. And when that is put at thing, the U-35 goes out, and the U-38 goes out, and the U-35 flows out from the other direction. It's different models, but that's how it is, right? See, this is a centrifuge process. Uranium is first converted into a gaseous form, usually uranium hexafluoride. This gas is then fed into a centrifuge like this, which is a rapidly rotating cylinder. Due to the centrifugal force, the heavier molecules of UF6 containing U38 move towards the outside. Okay. While the lighter molecules containing U235 are concentrated near the center, and that is pulled out. As simple as that. I hope I clarified this. I would have felt bad if I couldn't have shown this. So, they are delicate. I think the enrichment capability of Iran has gone down by about 90%. They might have just that enriched uranium. That's it. So there are a lot of things which have gone right. I hope that I have put in clear. Sir, Israel took out Hamas, then Hezbollah, next was Iran. But looks like Iran did not see it coming. Yeah, I think they're more of a theocracy, more of a mental block. Yeah, how could I help? How could I visit Gunner shop for merchandise? Let me put it this way: that is at this point of time only available outside India. Okay, you go to you put your thing under on that any of that merchandise. Click, you'll be diverted to a website where you can order and it will be delivered home. But it is mostly available in abroad. That's why I've not spoken much about it. I'm trying to put together someone here who can give me the same thing, and I can tell you. I'll come out with it. I'll give you a link, and you can buy it in India. If you're in India, don't attempt to buy it. If you're in abroad, you can buy it. Especially if you're in USA, go for it. The things I got positive affirmation and feedback that the stuff is good. In India, I still not started it, but I will start it soon. I'm patient on this. What was the effect of bunker bursters? I've told you. It's not destruction. If those are contaminated, some broken, we don't know what the thing is. I'll have to redo the whole thing. And for that, I don't have scientists. I don't have money. A lot of problems. Technology, where will it come from? UF6 route exploits relative diffusion rates of uranium isotopes to enrich one isotope, while conversion involves transmuting. Yeah, that's that's what I said. Conversion, right? Yeah. Conversion is or reprocessing. Conversion, reprocessing. There's all even uranium to hex is also called conversion. Containment is inevitable. Yeah, I agree with you. Nuclear chain reaction when enrichment is going on in no, it can't happen. There's no chain reaction when enrichment is happening, because when enrichment is happening, the enriched uranium is very little, the percentage is little, so it will fizzle. Nothing will happen. Yeah, what would have been the reason for such a geographical distance between different stages of processing centers in the Iranian nuclear program? Safety. Yeah, normally it is safety, not only against the external attack, even internal disruptions. Even for us, we have something in Mysore, something in Rajasthan, something in Bombay, something in Kalpakkam, and there are others who are working in universities and all that, and it's different. It's all spread out, right? It is spread out by design so that if one center goes up, there's not much risk. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I won't like to talk more about this. Do people store enriched uranium in metal, liquid, or gas state? It's in metal state. It's always in metal state. Yeah. Let me see. Why is China not come to help Iran? I'll talk of it tomorrow. Actually, today was to talk of China, but I'll talk of China tomorrow. I thought, these things came to mind yesterday after my discussion on P Gurus. And today's Brigadier Saigal said we'll talk of Iran's capability, nuclear options, whatever options they are. So that's why I did this. Quickly, I went into thing and came out with this. So we'll talk of China tomorrow. Yeah, there's a rumor about Pakistan that Khan's nukes did not work. It's right, they didn't work. They used Chinese thing. Even that didn't work fully. Yeah, I agree. They don't have Air Force. They have old Russian and old uh, US jets. If cold testing by implosion was successful, then it is as good as a device since the core has to be replaced by a fissile material. Yeah, I agree with you. They might have one or two. That's what I'm saying. That's the only option they have. Will they like to use it? I don't know. Wonderful session. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Big fan. Indian Army gentleman, in Army, my dad ex-serviceman. Thanks a lot, Anil, for your contribution. Right. Deepak, been watching your program. Pleasure to see some sensible analysis. Thanks a lot. Without screaming, you and I, why should you scream? You should be cool in your head. What's your thoughts on Pakistan's future position in light of a virtual Iranian decimation? Will there be less collusion? We'll speak of it separately a few days later. I've already put it in passing, but I'll examine Pakistan separately again. Thanks a lot. You're sweet, so nice. Uh, yeah, so basically every side performing each stage of enrichment has been. It's not just the enrichment reaction. They've finished off the reprocessing plants. They finished off the conversion plants. Two types of conversion: making of UF6 and the one to plutonium. That's been done and dusted. Heavy water plants they've finished off. Mining also they've hit. So the whole chain has been hit just by enrichment. What will you do? Enrichment also has been hit. Your capability to enrich has gone down. Can Bushehr nuclear reactor extract cobalt 60 and other isotopes which are used in dirty bombs? Every reactor you can get every uh, isotope. Something always happens. That's why it's a reactor. Okay. Can Iran attack India to put pressure on Israel? No, no, forget it. All this is. In Will Iran withdraw from NPT or can it result in more attacks on it? We'll discuss in the evening what are the options it has. Right? What steps should government take to expand defense ties with Quad and with Australia and Japan? Strengthen Quad and reach out to Japan. Japan is the one which is important. Australia is insignificant. It doesn't matter much. Japan. We have to strengthen our technology ties with Japan. Yeah, looks like I missed the great session. I will make sure to watch. Yeah, do that because this is different. You'll not get this anywhere. I can assure you this. Oh, I'm glad. I wish we had a teacher like you in our school days who made the boring topic of nuclear physics so interesting with your explanation. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Heavy water is not a product of uranium fission reactors. It is an input. Heavy water is used to slow down neutrons without. Yeah, I agree with you, but then it becomes heavier as you go along. Okay, I agree with you, but I put it in simplistic terms. I put it in as simplistic terms as possible. Please understand. Okay, let me put it. A lot of what I've said is probably not correct also. Okay, but I made it simplistic for people to understand. Okay, and to say that heavy water is not a product of fission reactors is also wrong. I know heavy water is transported from all our reactors somewhere. Okay, so look, just grant me something that I am. If I say something wrong, I'm deliberately saying it wrong. Not that I don't know. I know this whole process. I'm deliberately saying something wrong. It takes an effort for me to lie to you, to bring home some fundamental ideas about nuclear physics. Okay, take it from me. Got it, Arun? Yeah. In USA, it ships from San Diego. Quality is awesome. I bought only two 15 ounces, mainly coffee mugs and around round neck t-shirts. So thanks a lot. I'm glad my those are being bought. Those of you who are in USA, please go ahead. I think it's worth it. So far, I've not spoken of it, but because I thought I should get someone in India to do it. I've not had the time because I'm busy with certain other things to get hold of a guy who can do it in India. And I don't think it's that costly in US terms. The problem is it's not costly on Indian rupees also. The problem is the packaging and cost. When it comes to India, it doubles. So that's why anyone in India don't go for it. If you're abroad, buy it. Okay. Should India start the process of mediation between Israel and Iran? We should. During my college days, I visited the Kalpakam plant and asked them if they produce nuclear weapons. He just smiled and said no answer. I think he did the right thing, no? He just smiled. See, let me also tell you, they don't make the nuclear weapons, but it's a fast breeder test reactor. Fast breeder test reactor makes fissile material. Okay, they're fast breeder reactors. But let me divert into something else. There's something called a thorium cycle. We are aiming for the thorium cycle. Our problem is the plutonium which comes out, whether you want to use it for nuclear warheads or you want to use it for the thorium cycle. For the thorium cycle, you need plutonium. We can increase our nuclear warheads, plutonium warheads. There's no problem, but it will be at the cost of our thorium cycle. If you don't get our thorium cycle in, our energy requirements go up, or the gap will increase. The faster we get into the thorium cycle, the better. The day we get into a proper thorium cycle and invest into it, then we'll be energy surplus. So we are going through that phase next 5-10 years. That's why I say India should not develop in a hurry, because if you develop in a hurry, you don't have energy for it. And your energy will be there in place in about 10 years with thorium. Then your development will be even faster. And a lot of things are interconnected. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. I think we've had a great time. I hope you had a great time. If you like this, press the like button and subscribe to the channel. And also join me as a member. We'll get back at about 7:30 in the evening with Brigadier Arun Saigal and talk of Iran's options. Till then, have a great day. Jai Hind to all of you.